What about the athletes? And I know this is your sport, but looking across other sports, I think NFL athletes are the greatest. The size, the power, the speed, and it's so good that you get to see the draft and you get to see all this stuff online of them doing vertical jumps and the 40-yard dashes and all this. This is what rugby needs to do, because I think that we've got great athletes.
That's what I think too.
You think what?
Like one of the best athletes I coached is a rugby player.
Who?
Jordan Malata.
Really?
He was one of the best athletes I've seen.
In what way?
That he was, I think at the time, like 335 pounds.
Can you do it in kgs or not? Would you know?
What is it?
Stick with
2.2 in it. So like 160 kilos. And he was running like 4.9 in a 40. Had like 20 something, 18% body fat. Plays a starting left tackle for the Eagles now. So like he's like one of the best. He's like a guy that was on the IPP program. He's one of the best athletes. Wow. Christian Wade was a really good athlete.
He was a good athlete. Yeah, I played against Wadey a few times. I didn't. We're on the same page.
He's an excellent athlete, I thought.
I never touched him.
Like his change of direction.
Yeah, because he was at the Buffaloes for a bit.
I think what they do is they showcase athleticism.
Yes. On
an elite level. Like, and don't get me wrong, if there's only 32 teams on the planet and there's millions of people playing the sport at a young level, you're going to get really high-end athletes. Do you know, like, they come to the top. It's like, that's one of the biggest differences in football is, like, think rugby. If you can't play in England, you go and play somewhere else, right? If you can't, whatever the best league is in the world, I don't know. If you don't play in the Premier League, you go and play. There's so many opportunities. American football, there's one professional league. Well, there's a couple more now, like XFL and USFL, but like there's one real right now, like professional league. So like the level of athletes that come into it are top end, and they are good. But I do think they're like, we got excellent athletes on our team, and I think you get wow. I've seen some amazing ones.
You like wow?
Yeah.
When you see them, like what wows the coach?
Movement.
Is it movement?
Speed, power.
The things that sell any sport. Like you look at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking at the 100-meter. Race. Like that's the most watched event.
Balance. I've seen people like they land like cats. You know what I mean? They can move instantly when they land from jumping, or they can avoid and get their feet back on the ground without falling over. Like some people are such good athletes, they're just never on the ground. Like they can accelerate in a heartbeat.
And genetics, a lot of it.
Yeah, definitely. But I think as well, if you look at football, like I think there's guys that in the Premier League, I think there's guys, if they was born in America, they would play in American football. They'd be cornerbacks or they would be receivers, or you know, like I look at that all the time because that's the job I've done before. So I look at people and I love looking at like their athleticism, their frame, and what they can do, you know, and evaluate how their athletic traits can be transferable into other sports.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the level of athleticism, and I'm not saying it's not high, it's it's extremely high, but I do think the NFL does a great job showcasing it, and like a lot of metrics that you break down to evaluate players, a lot of them are built on athletic measurables to start with, to give you the right pool of players to look at. Not every position, but a lot of positions are. And then you start watching the film of the players that fit those profiles. And obviously there's outliers, you know, there's obviously outliers within that, but kind of you don't look for the outliers, you look for the majority of players, and then the outliers normally come to you because they're so good.
Do they profile players from an early age with the athleticism solely? Like will they go and watch athletics at the universities and colleges and
it's different like that, like because like this is a cool thing I think that they do in American high school. It's like it's all seasonal. So like normally you'll play football, then you do athletics, then you play basketball, you might play baseball. So you do all the sports. Do you see what I'm saying? And then as you're going through all the different sports, the colleges are watching you And there, if you're a baseball coach, you'll watch them when they play baseball. If you're a football coach, you'll watch them when they play football. You know what they're doing in athletics and all those things, and you see like their highlights online and stuff like that. But then the different groups, like some kids will be recruited in multiple sports, and then they choose which one they want to go for. Do you know? Like rarely, some guys play 2 sports in college. You know, some of the great football players have, and then when you get into that level, you get picked again to play the sport you want to play, or you get a choice, you know, or you might not get a choice. You might go straight to the pros in one sport. But it is, I think that ability to play multiple different sports and do different movements helps you develop as an athlete. You know, like I think we in this country, if you're good at something, you're playing it from the get-go, and that is it. You know, like the other ones fall away.
Exactly.
You know, like how much would soccer have helped or football here helped your footwork if you was good? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely, 100%. Like, I've got 4 kids. My lad's 12, playing a bit of rugby, but we took him out of rugby for 2 years for him to do the other stuff.
Yeah.
Loves soccer. He ain't going to be soccer. He's going to be tall and rangy, but it's important that he plays for the spatial awareness, not that he's going to become a rugby player or he's into NBA, he's in the junior NBA up in Scotland, but 100%.
So
for sure.
I think that's like, I think the level of it's hard for me to say that question now, thinking about you asking me. Like, I do think there's good athletes in all sports. Like, I think, how is there not a guy walking around these streets that he just never got the opportunity? Like that. The boxer Anthony Joshua, he trains in Dallas. So one time I saw him in the airport one time, and I just thought to myself, like, if he was born in this country, he'd be playing football. There's no doubt. He wouldn't have never boxed. Do you know, like, he might have, but he looks like a prototypical defensive end.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, and that's probably what a college would have come knocking, and he would have gone there and done. You know, like, so I think the way athletes are showcased is, and I think the opportunities they have to develop in other sports does help them. Probably, you're right there. I haven't really thought about it like that. But
have you ever seen the Cirque du Soleil before?
No.
You want to talk about athletes?
Really?
There was.
I want to take my mum to see that, because they do it in Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah, but they do these smaller ones up in Edinburgh, like the Fringe Festival. So this studio where we are, on a table this size, and they're doing these movements, and I have never seen athleticism like it. These people in the circuses and stuff like that. And there's one online, I can't remember his name, where he's got dreadlocks, black, powerful, shredded, doing these things on the beach where he's running and doing somersaults. I'll send you it. I've never seen power and athleticism like it in my life. And people talk about like different sports. My mate's a physio in the Cirque du Soleil, and he's like, you've never seen power and the output that these do in dangerous activities as well. Am I saying that Cirque du Soleil is more athletic than NFL? I might be.
I know what you're saying.
I'll show you.
I'll have to watch it to see.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, there's so many different types of athletes in the NFL. Like, we've got guys that are huge that can move. We've got guys that are really small that can move. That's why I love this sport. You know, like, it really can capture people from all different walks of life, all different sizes of people, and it gives them an opportunity to be part of it. That's how I got into it, you know, that it was a sport that I could play. And I didn't necessarily, when I started it, think about being good at it. I just really just wanted to play it and compete, you know, like, when I say good, I meant like elite at it. I just kind of was like, I just want to go and play. It looks so cool. And it was.
I mean, it is one of the coolest, if not the coolest sport on the planet. I watched was it the halftime show where Dr. Dre, Eminem, was it halftime or before show?
It was halftime show.
Oh my goodness me. I watched it. I was at my mate's cycling for his 40th last week, rock and roll, and we just put on loads of YouTube. And he said, was there anything good you've seen? I said, watch this, and we watched the NFL halftime show. Dr. Dre, Eminem, 50 Cent.
That was a couple of years ago,
Was it a couple of years ago? Yeah, because
it was in LA.
Who did it this year? Was it Rihanna? I can't remember.
But I did see that
Casual
one.
fan, you're a coach. You only see the good stuff.
Yeah, one of my friends was coaching in that Rams game, so I watched the game and I saw that it was those guys in it. Yeah.
Yeah.